Welcome back. Holiday gift giving isn't just for people. Even with rising costs, a large chunk of Americans say they still plan to prioritize their pets this Christmas.
But when it comes to shopping for treats and toys, which items should you spend your money on? Which ones are actually going to be good for our lovable furry animals? Dr. Eric Ruhland is with us this morning with some helpful tips. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It was funny. I was checking out at the dog store, and the lady looks at me. She's like, "Ooh, Butter's going to have a really good Christmas this year." And I looked at her and I was like, "I don't know you, but thank you."
Oh,
yeah.
well, you become a celebrity.
She's like, "Yes, yeah." It was very funny.
But everybody knows Butter.
Right.
I knows Butter is maybe getting
everybody
a little
knows Butter.
spoiled.
She's like, "Well, is Butter in the truck?" And I was like, "Yeah, she's in the truck with me." So she had a great weekend. She was pheasant hunting with me this weekend, and she did fantastic. She was, she's
That's
back
one way to play with your dog.
Oh my
and
gosh.
of course, just letting
her brain, like watching her brain work. It's why I loved. It's actually one of the reasons I became a veterinarian, as I used to hunt with my dogs when I was really young, when I was 12, 11 years old as a boy, and on the farm we had great hunting dogs, and I was like, the bond I developed with them, that was one of the major reasons that I just love watching them do what they do. It's just so cool. So
okay,
yes,
if they can't get out hunting this winter, talk about some of these toys that are good for them, good for enrichment.
Right. I want to kind of talk about some pitfalls that commonly people get into and things that I take out of dogs' stomachs a lot. So when I talk about the dangers of toys, or some of the toys that we should be using and the ones we should avoid, mostly it revolves around stuff that they can either swallow or damage to teeth and gums. So those are the two big things. So we'll kind of start out right away with probably the most common and the toys that a lot of people are familiar with are tennis balls, right? Dogs that are really aggressive chewers, well, actually the coating on regular tennis balls is actually really abrasive. It's like sandpaper on their teeth. And
Really?
I've seen dogs that come in. I have this really awesome German Shepherd named Klaus. He comes in and he's such an aggressive chewer. He likes to hold tennis balls. And when he was a puppy, from the time he was probably 6 months to 2 years, he wore off all the enamel on the inside of his canines because he just sat there and would hold it. These are dog safe. A lot of not just this brand, but a lot of the tennis balls that are designed for pets that are at pet stores, make sure that they're safe for teeth, because they have a completely different coating than an actual tennis ball. So something to be aware of there.
Good to know.
Obviously the throwers, we're all familiar with the chuckets and the throw things and all that jazz. Those are great. Rope toys. I really am not a fan of rope toys at all. They advertise on here that these are flossable. Your dog's never going to floss their teeth.
Flossable?
With this. Yeah, it's a flossable. It's a flossable, ball. What ends up happening is they tear and rip these apart.
Yeah.
And I have taken what ends up happening. I've seen this about maybe a half a dozen times. They'll chew this part off, and this part gets stuck in the pyloric outflow of their stomach, and then this just floats around, and then I have to take it out. So. Ropes in general, stringy things, I don't particularly love these. Yeah. So.
All right, this is something we have a lot of in my house, the squeaky toy.
We already talked about
this
before on air. What does everybody's dog do? Is they take these squeakers out, and then they almost always swallow them or they destroy them. The squeakers are fun and everything, and Butter is getting, of course, she loves that.
She's
but be a little bit aware of that. Just be aware. The other thing and this is a reminder. I'm starting to see a lot more like vibrating toys and toys that have batteries inside of them. I've seen that more frequently, and just be aware that is like anything that has a motorized component to it. Stay away from that, please.
The stuffing, just quickly, because I have this issue. What about the stuffing in all of these toys?
One of the most interesting foreign bodies that I've taken out of a dog's stomach was an entire, like the stuffing of the inside of a pillow. They just ate and ate and ate. It was a really orally fixated lab. So the stuffing, they'll eat that, and the reason that's a problem is it compresses, the stomach tries to push it out, and it just fills back up, and it doesn't move, it just sits in the stomach. So the stuffing can be a big problem. You're right, Alex, thank you for the reminder on that one. So to go back, I really like, as an alternative to tennis balls, and something that's completely different are just the straight rubber solid balls. They can't really break into pieces and chunk off. And these are big enough that they're not going to swallow. Kind of the same thing with these. I like these and also the Kong brand of these that have the open holes on one end. Be a little bit careful of toys that have one hole in them because it can create suction. You want one that has two holes in it on each end. But the great thing about these, and we've talked about this, you can stuff stuff inside of here like peanut butter and other things that kind of keep them interested. So those are great toys. The classic Nylabone, we've talked about chew toys that I really love. These are veterinarian designed. These are not meant to be swallowed. Always be careful of toys that can be ingested or chew toys that are designed to be, that are actually meant to be swallowed. There's a couple them on the market that I don't really like. Nylabones have always been my favorite.
Yeah,
so.
I have a couple of those, and Zula just can rip apart on that thing. No, she doesn't rip it apart. She just chews on it forever
Chews
and
on it
ever
forever,
and
and
ever.
they last forever. And once they kind of get down to a point where you'll see it when they get down to a point that you might swallow it, just chuck it and get another one. So. Tough Guard, the canine Tough Guard, it's a product that they have put in a lot of these different the toys. But these pull type toys, I really like these too. So
this is maybe an alternative to something like this.
You got it, right on,
Gotcha.
right on. Those are the best ones. And this is Butter's by far her favorite. This is her favorite toy. A lot of people use either like soccer balls or other things. This they can actually grab, and they're not wrenching their mouth open, which can sometimes cause some issues with their jaws and their teeth, but they can actually get this and grab it. So I've been a huge fan of these. These are fantastic.
Okay. I had a question for you, Dr. Eric. You go into the pet store, there's the pig ears, the raw hides, the real bones with all the chunky stuff on it. What should you know about that?
I don't like any bones, any natural bones. I end up there's the outer facet of their upper fourth premolar, which I'm not going to quiz you guys, but it's the biggest tooth that they have in their skull. They always slab fracture that off, and I remove. At my practice this week, we'll probably take 3 or 4 teeth out because people give those big knuckle and those big raw bones to dogs, and they just chew on them. There's no nutrient value there, so there's so much safer alternatives for chewing than that. So. The ones that I like, I've talked about them before, bully sticks are great because there's no fat in them. Rawhides are awful because they're just solid fat. That's all it is solid fat. And I see them, they swallow them and they actually will swell because they'll rehydrate in the stomach and then they get stuck.
Oh, dear.
So I've seen that plenty of times. So I don't particularly love those, no.
Okay, before you go, we want to just switch gears for people who are traveling for the holidays and they want to, check out some facilities for their puppy dog. What would you suggest as far as what should dog owners and cat owners keep in mind when they're trying to book their dog stay?
I get this a lot, and people obviously when you're leaving our loved ones with somebody that we're either not sure or not aware of, I would be asking the questions. First, ask a couple questions about what their protocols are for vaccinations, because vaccinations and for deworming protocols. If you're going to a place that isn't requiring Bordetella and isn't requiring a fecal examination, that's kind of a weird, that's not a great situation, because all these dogs should be scanned, because that's where your dog's going to probably get exposure. So make sure that those places require those things. Bordetella, distemper, rabies, and a fecal exam. Those are the big ones that I always ask a kennel. The second thing is, how often are they getting out? How often are they getting exercise? What type of mental stimulation and play games are they going to be doing? And are they grouping these dogs together with like-minded dogs? Do we have groups that are old dogs that are together, young dogs together? How are they breaking them apart? We got a lot of great facilities in Minneapolis-St. Paul. We're really blessed and lucky here because I think so many people travel up north or do their traveling. We're really, really lucky here. In other parts of the country, we don't have those options. So yeah.
Cool. This has been so useful. I loved your this, not that kind of example of the toys. Just little things to think of.
It was funny. I was in the store and this gentleman walks over to me and he's like, "Wow!" Like I was grabbing all these things, and then I said, I have to do a demonstration tomorrow. He's like, "Which one of these things should I be buying? Which ones should I?" It was really funny. Yeah.
Maybe he was watching.
Yeah,
he is watching.
He is.
It's good information.
Dr. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Have a Merry Christmas too.
Yeah, thank you.